Here it is, Steve Kaufusi on BYU Sports Nation. Steve Kaufusi with us on BYU Sports Nation, the defensive line coach for the Cougars. Coach, welcome to Studio B.
Thanks for having me.
This is the first time I have seen you since we so rudely took over your home and shot some BYU Sports Nation commercials. What do we owe you for the damages?
Oh, man. Let me think about that one. Okay. Yeah, that was, I didn't have dinner until 10 there. So.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
Ooh, I'd send him an invoice. I'd double that for the fact that you didn't have dinner. So.
And then they forgot equipment.
Oh.
I mean, I was wondering when they're going to call around to grab me and stuff, but I think they finally stopped by.
Not just like physical things. Like, we've caused serious emotional, spiritual damage in the Kaufusi home.
You could write all that up, Coach, and send it to him.
Put it on the invoice.
Yep.
That was fun, though.
Yeah, we had a good time. Those will be released, some of them on Media Day coming up on June 24th. Now, just a few days ago, BYU football officially began game preparation. We're 90-ish days away from BYU and Nebraska.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, isn't that's unbelievable to me. And you're already starting for Nebraska. How is the game prep coming along?
It's coming along great. A lot of film to watch and dissect, and so that's kind of fun to be starting that process.
Yeah, you don't have to watch your the offense, right? You know, going through spring ball and watching film and of them and teaching the guys. You guys can finally focus on a new opponent, something new, and have some
first
fun.
First game. So, yeah, it's been great. We're trying to get all that out of the way because we got a lot of camps coming up, and in between camps, the open windows of times the next few weeks, we'll be at it.
Steve Kaufusi with us on BYU Sports Nation. We wish you congratulations on the recent signing of Manase Tu'ungafasi. And when I was at your house and we were shooting those commercials, we talked about how important it would be to secure him. Well, you did that. Garrett Tujay told us that his celebration might not be BYU broadcasting appropriate when he first found out. What was it for you when you found out?
Hey, it was like, whoo.
Okay.
There's a lot of work that goes into, especially when you have a shot at somebody.
Yeah.
And you got to close the door. You got to finish it. So it was just, doing all the little things and answering his questions and making sure that he feels comfortable. And especially with the mom, being here also. So, yeah, that was a long 48 hours.
So we heard a couple of different stories from just different sources and talked to you a few weeks ago about it. And, one of the parts of his dad hearing you on the radio was really started the conversations and sparked the interest again. What was your pitch, man? What did you say over the radio for his dad to say, hey, pick up the phone and call Coach?
I think, to go back a little bit, a lot of people missed the first part was that, we've been messaging back and forth, on Facebook.
Okay.
And I was trying to get him to come on a recruiting trip, back in January. But Oregon State was already, been recruiting him, and he kind of made up his mind that's where he's going to go. And I was just trying, hey, how about taking a trip here and check us out, compare. But eventually he came back and said, Coach, I think I'm going to just stay with Oregon State. So, and then it was over. I wish him the best. Hey, good luck, and hope things go well for you. And when I got there on my trip, a cousin of mine asked, hey, would you like to go on the radio and they'd like to ask you questions and wondering why you're here, what you're doing, and so forth. And so when I got on the radio, I didn't know until he told me later that his dad was listening. Yeah. And when he came home, the dad said to him, hey, Coach Kaufusi from BYU is here. Yeah, just wonder how things are going with him, And so that's when all of a sudden I got a message from him. Hey, Coach, how you doing? How's your trip going? And so I was like, okay, Manase is getting a hold of me here.
Right.
And so that's how it all started, was through the radio. And, of course, I got many other calls from many people calling the radio, hey, how do we get a hold of Coach Kaufusi? And here's the thing. They got my email, my Facebook, and my phone number. My phone was not working.
Oh, no.
So I had to go find a phone place to see if they can put a SIM card in there or something, and it can't do it. you know, and I paid for this stuff, you know, before I left. So they converted, you know, and so, oh, yeah, you're good to go. When I get there, this is the second time I've gone there, and it has not worked out. So guess what I did? I went and bought a little phone. I went and bought a little phone, the cheapest phone they got, passed it on to the radio guys. Hey, if anybody call me, here's my new number. Okay, I got a new little phone here. And so that's what I used there, and, you know, be able to answer the phone and, you know, and call some of those coaches.
Ringing off the hook. Nice. Steve Kaufusi giving us the insights into securing the recent recruit, Manase Tu'ungafasi. It's not every day a 6'8", 322-pound freakish athlete who is a star at rugby just kind of comes into your house. Well, here he is. He's at BYU, and he's not the first big recruit, and I mean that both literally and figuratively, that you've signed recently, throwing Motaki Ailangi out of Tonga. And so with these two guys, what is this a kind of a new age recruiting approach that we're looking at within BYU athletics?
I think so. You know, and Coach Mendenhall has been, you know, been pondering about this, and it was his suggestion to reach out. And so I felt like it's been worth it. We found a couple giants out there that could help us. And so I think it's just a beginning. And like I said, we, you know, with Coach Atuaya in Western Samoa, and also he went to Fiji this year. And then, you know, of course, you know, he has some, you know, kids that we're looking at, and then also I've got about a handful of, you know, at least 6 or 7 kids that I'm doing my homework on, and getting them, educating them about, yes, you have to take the ACT test or SAT test. You know, that's the, you know, they're doing great in school, but now we need them to take the test to kind of find out and have an idea where they're at academically.
So when you are finding these kids, are there rugby coaches sending you film, or is it family, friends? How's that going about?
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, from family, you know, people we might know, connections of other coaches. Even the coaches, you know, there are some coaches there that hesitant, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you guys are here to steal our kids.
Yeah, right.
You know, we want to play rugby.
Right.
For some part, you know, you'll find other coaches that are willing to help you. So, you know, you get a feel for that. And so you kind of go around, you know, if nobody's willing to help you, okay, and then, you know, you got to find other resources. And maybe it's an assistant coach, or maybe it's a family of, you know, especially of the kids, you know, they're reaching out to you. And then you have to go through them if the other parties doesn't want you to mess with their kids.
When we look at Ziggy Ansah, top 5 NFL draft pick, kind of just fell into your lap in a way at BYU, but he had no formal football experience. How much did the Ziggy factor play into this new age recruiting, if at all?
I think a little bit, yeah. You know, and you know, like I said, you know, we've gone to Samoa and Hawaii, obviously, and then we had kids like Paul Lasike from New Zealand coming. You know, we've had others that were here from New Zealand in the past. So I think a combination of all of those kids coming and the thought of, hey, we got to reach out to the islands, you know, and I know earlier when I don't know if it's 10 years ago, or, you know, and my, you know, Coach Mendenhall has a book with each coach in their recruiting area. So mine always says Tonga, New Zealand, Australia, but in Fiji. But we've never really, it's there, but we never really, I think it was more referral. And if somebody got into BYU, then they, you know, then I'm in charge of helping this kid, you know, find his way into the football office. But now we've actually, like I said, a couple of years ago was the first time we actually gone that far.
Went that far.
What a sacrifice! My goodness, to travel
and
that
to
many
offer,
miles.
and to offer, you know, taking a chance, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a leap of faith, and you know, and I like what Coach Mendenhall said. You know, why not?
Yeah.
You know, we need to. You know, we got to go turn every stone to find those gems, and I feel like we got a couple good ones on those too.
I want to talk to you about this year's football team, the 2015 schedule specifically. Brian and I have spent a lot of time over the past few weeks kind of dissecting what lies ahead and the schedule. And now Bronco Mendenhall is taking back over the defense. How does that change your specific role as defensive line coach, with Bronco kind of stepping back in and being the guy with ultimately the main reins?
I don't think it changes anything at all. I mean, I got my responsibility. My job is to prepare those, defensive linemen. They're down in the trenches, and everybody got their specific job. So there might be a handful of calls that Coach Menhall might put his hat on that he likes. There's certain things he likes. He's been doing this for a while. But other than that, it's just I think just there's a sense of urgency in our part to just play better, have a better year, have a better season. And in our preparation from spring ball to this point, with the kids, buying in, and the leadership as far as the kids, and then of course we got a new strength coach, and he's doing a marvelous job in the weight room with those kids right now in the off season. So, yeah, I think there's a sense of urgency and heightened awareness in what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what Coach Mendenhall does too. Not just as a player, but as a coach as well. Coach, when it comes to your son and coaching him, when you are watching him on the sideline, do you watch him and get excited as a dad and say, "Oh, that's my son," or do you say, "Oh, what are you doing? Use that technique, swim, use this, use that"? Is it difficult and hard for you to go back and forth from that coach relationship to the father-son relationship?
Yeah, it's like I just turn a little switch on. Hey, I'm the coach. Okay, and then I'm hard on him just like everybody else. And I think I would be lying if I didn't tell you that I think there's a little part of me that really dissect everything he's doing. Okay, how can I help? And I think I do that with the other players too. But and sometimes I don't know if he likes to hear it from me, but hey, son, you're gonna hear it from me no matter what. Okay? I don't care if you like me, but
That's right.
yeah, we can apologize later, but you gotta treat him just like everybody else, and but I think there's always, I'd be lying if I say that. Yeah, I'm a coach and dad. I'd be lying if I, said that I wasn't. But yeah, there's part of me that, because I want him to do his part, to know your role, take your responsibility. You're part of this group here, and and obviously you want him to succeed. Yeah.
Coach, great to have you in Studio B, and we look forward to what Bronson does on the football field, and for that matter, what Corbin does on the basketball court as he has made that transition over to Dave Rose's squad. But congratulations on all the hard work paying off with the recruiting, and we'll get down to business in about 90 days at Nebraska.
Is that what it is? 90?
92?
92 days.
92 days.
I'm glad you guys are counting, reminding us.
We had nothing else to do with our lives. We're just bored.
Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
We're coming to